Kalen Voss never meant to share a bed with a wolf alien, especially not one like her. The tent walls quivered under the weight of the wind howling across the Tasker expanse. Snow pelted the reinforced canvas like angry spirits trying to claw their way inside. Outside, war tents of the Allied Reclamation Force stood buried in powder and frost. And inside, Kalen sat cross-legged, struggling to light the last ember of heat his fingers could coax from the emergency flint disc. His body ached. His wounds were mended but raw. The last battle against the Kern Dominion had left his squad scattered, some dead, some frozen. And Kalen, for all his training and steel, had survived on nothing but willpower and luck. Then she had appeared. Lunara. She'd stormed into his tent like a phantom, her cloak torn, eyes glowing amber beneath frost-rimmed lashes. Her skin, the color of moonlit ash, shimmered beneath her battle leathers. Thick, pointed ears framed her face, clearly not human. But neither was she just some beast. She was Iron, one of the fabled wolfkin of the north, a people the humans had only ever heard stories of, half-truths, rumors, warnings. He stood instinctively, weapon ready. But she didn't attack. Instead, she stumbled forward, shaking with cold. "You're the only tent still warm," she whispered. "The others are abandoned." Kalen frowned. "How did you survive the blizzard?" "I didn't. I'm surviving now." Then she collapsed into his arms. It had taken him 10 full minutes to debate helping her. Another 5 to rationalize that the Iron weren't technically enemies of the Reclamation Force. And maybe one more just won't be. 4, he wrapped her in blankets and pulled her close. Body heat, she'd murmured against his chest. Just that. No seduction, no clever words. Survival. Her skin was freezing. Her hair smelled of cedar and ozone. Her claws, retractable and lethal, tapped softly against his forearm. Kalen had never slept so aware, so alert, so painfully conscious of his heartbeat and breath. And yet, sometime during the night, the storm outside faded and the storm inside him shifted. He woke with her still there, closer, warmer, her body pressed against his like a second skin, and pain on his shoulder. A sting. He sat up fast. That's when he saw the mark. A glowing symbol seared into his skin just above his left clavicle, curved like a crescent, bordered in lines like ancient circuitry. And in the center, a single fang shape pointed down over his heart. No. He scrambled for his shirt, then for the scanner from his belt pouch. He ran the sensor over the mark once, twice, and every time it chimed back the same reading dot. Organic fusion. Not removable. Non-human DNA encoded. Lunara stretched beside him, eyes fluttering open, calm as the morning sky. "You wake," she said, voice throaty with sleep. Kalen nearly choked. "What is this? What did you do?" She raised an eyebrow. "You accepted the warmth. You accepted me. I didn't agree to being marked like livestock. Careful. Human. In my culture, that's how you claim a mate." His blood froze more than the snow ever had. "Mate? Yes, you shared body heat during life-threatening weather, under moonfall, while hearts aligned. I marked you, as is our way. You didn't ask. You didn't even warn me." She blinked slowly. "Your kind mates with a ring and false promises. Mine mates with survival and truth. You could have pushed me away. You didn't." Kalen clenched his fists. "I was being decent. That's not consent." "Yet here we are," Lunara said, rising slowly, her fur-lined garments cascading over her form like winter armor. You bear the mark. Denying it now would shame both of us. He stepped back, breathing hard. What happens if I refuse? She hesitated. Then you must challenge it. In combat. His heart dropped. You're kidding. I do not joke, she said. Not about bond marks. She turned to leave the tent, her pale hair catching golden light as the flap opened. Before she stepped out, she glanced back. But if you accept, you won't have to fight me. Then she was gone. Kalen sank to the cot, marked, mated, tied, to a creature he barely knew. What the hell was he supposed to do? Outside, the war between factions raged on, and now he had a bigger problem than survival. The wolf girl with amber eyes and a burning brand that could change the fate of two species. Kalon didn't wait. He burst out of the tent, boots crunching against the frozen ground, steam escaping his lips like smoke from a panicked engine. His breath came fast, but not from the cold. No, this was the heat of betrayal, of confusion, of a mark that now pulsed like a heartbeat against his shoulder. Camp reclamation had stirred early, smoke curling from chimneys, sentries pacing with rifles slung across their chests, and eyes snapping toward him the moment he stormed through the main thoroughfare. But no one paid him more attention than Commander Roan. Soldier, Roan called from behind a steel command platform, his voice clipped, cold. Report. Kalen stopped, saluted on reflex, then slowly pulled down the collar of his thermosuit to reveal the glowing mark. The commander's face darkened. Is that what I think it is? She marked me, one of the iron, last night, during the blizzard. Roan came down the steps, each one a hammer blow. Did you mate her? No. I sheltered her. She was freezing. I thought I was helping, you thought. The commander's voice was thunderous now. Kalen, you are a soldier of the reclamation. You don't just think around aliens you barely understand. Kellen's mouth went dry. What happens now, Roan's gaze swept across the growing crowd of soldiers. Protocol states any unauthorized bonding between a human and alien, especially involving unknown biosignature markings, must be reviewed by tribunal. Kalen stepped forward, voice lower. And if they don't approve? Roan looked away. You'll be confined, possibly reassigned. If the iron claim the mark is permanent, there could be political fallout. You might even be a roar broke across the camp. Every soldier turned Luna Ra. She stood at the gates, her eyes burning with fury, a blade in one hand, the other hand raised in challenge. I claim him, she called out in perfect, deliberate English, and I will not let your kind take him from me without combat. Roan's expression twisted. She wants a duel, of course. Kellen's stomach dropped. Commander, you'll have to fight her, Kalen. If you win, we strip the mark and disavow the bond. If you lose, he stared, you become her mate. Fully, no turning back. Kalen turned toward her. She wasn't smiling, wasn't smug. There was something sad in her stance. She didn't want this either, but like him, she had no choice. The arena was a cleared-out ring of snow just beyond the camp's edge, surrounded by warriors, officers, and diplomats from both factions, and human alike. Lunara stood across from him, blade resting at her side. No armor, just her leathers, the fur at her shoulders glinting in the sun. Kalen wore light battle gear. He didn't want to hurt her, but he knew she wouldn't hesitate to win. You don't have to do this, he muttered across the distance. Do, she said softly. Our laws demand it. So do yours. The referee raised his hand. Begin, She moved fast, faster than any human Kalon had ever faced. She swept low, blade arcing toward his leg. He dodged, then deflected with his vambrace, sparks flying. No kill shots, the referee reminded. They exchanged 3 blows. 4, then Kalon caught her by the wrist and flipped her hard. She landed with a grunt, but rolled up like a cat. "You're holding back," she spat. "I don't want to hurt you." "You already did, Kalon. You accepted warmth and denied the bond. What do you think that makes me? Some plaything you can toss aside when the storm clears?" Kalon froze, breathing heavy. "I'm not angry that you don't love me," she said. "But you marked me too when you didn't push me away. That was choice. That was hope." The crowd was silent. She dropped her blade. "I forfeit," gasps. Even Kalon blinked. "I will not fight a man I respect," she said. "Not to prove I'm worthy of something already proven by fire." She turned, walked away. That night, Kalon sat alone in the med tent, the glow of his mark still humming quietly. Then Lunara entered silently, without ceremony. "No one challenged your choice," she said. "The humans backed off. Your people won't punish you, and yours, they already know." He stared at her, eyes softer now. "I don't want to hurt you, Lunara," he said. "But I don't want to pretend either. I don't know how to be what you need." She walked closer, stopping inches from him. "You don't have to know. Just don't run from it." He hesitated, then reached out, took her hand. This wasn't the bond of war anymore. It was the fragile beginning of something more. The tension in Camp Reclamation hadn't thawed even with the duel avoided. Kalon could feel it in the way the soldiers looked at him now, not with suspicion, but curiosity edged in wariness. He wasn't just Private Kalon Voss anymore. He was the human bonded to a wolf-born iron, and that made him dangerous or valuable. Commander Roan summoned him 2 days after the duel. "You and the alien Lunara being deployed," Roan said, fingers steepled. "Recon, Far Ridge, 4 clicks, northeast. Anomalous energy spike we can't explain. Alone?" Kalon asked. "With her," Roan confirmed. "Her people believe. It's linked to the artifact ruins you found during your survey before the blizzard. I want boots and claws on the ground fast." Quietly, Kalon nodded slowly. "Orders understood." As he exited, he found Lunara already waiting at the gate. She was dressed for war, Nausleek. Armor with fur lining at the collar and joints. Her twin blades strapped to her back, long hair braided behind her horns. "Are you ready, bonded?" she asked, the old teasing edge returning but softer now. "More personal. Only if you don't expect me to carry you," Kalon smirked. They left under the pale afternoon sun, 2 shadows sliding between peaks. The hike was brutal. Snowstorms came like ghosts. Icy wind howled through the narrow passes. They moved in silence, side by side, their bodies syncopating with practiced survival instincts, Kalon reading the terrain, Lunara scanning the air, always alert. As night fell, they found shelter in an abandoned iron outpost built into the sliff. It was small, barely a storage hut. 1 cot, 1 ration stove, 0 privacy. Want to kill each other for the cot. Kalon joked as he dropped his pack. Lunara crouched by the fire, brushing frost from her vambraces. "Your sense of humor is absurd, human," he laughed. "You like it. I tolerate it." They shared rations in quiet, occasionally catching each other's eyes, then looking away just as quickly. But eventually, Lunara turned toward him, voice quieter now. "Why did you stop me?" During the duel, Kaelin paused. Because you weren't angry, you were scared. Her gaze didn't flinch. I saw it. The same fear I had. Of what it meant. Of what we were becoming. He looked down, but I don't think it's something we need to fight anymore. Lunara stood, crossed to him. She didn't say a word. Instead, she leaned her forehead against his, and he didn't pull away. The next morning, they reached the ridge. From there, they saw an excavation site not listed on any official reclamation or iron map. Tents, machinery, and a black spiral of energy twisting in the air above a crystalline pit. Those aren't our people, Kaelin muttered. No, Lunara growled. And not mine either. They crawled closer through the frost. Below, a group of hybrid mercs, part human, part rogue-engineered iron, were extracting a pulsating core from the ice. A power source. Ancient. Dangerous. Kellen's radio crackled. Then a voice whispered. Through, not from the camp, not familiar. Experiment 7 online. Marked subject confirmed in the perimeter. Kaelin froze. They're tracking you, Lunara whispered. No, us. Suddenly, a sniper's shot ripped the ice inches from his head. Move. Kaelin shouted. They darted into a crevasse as fire rained from the ridge. Back route. Lunara yelled, pulling him through a tunnel of stone and ice. Behind them, explosions shattered the frozen path. Kaelin pulled his pistol, fired back, dropping one of the armored hybrids. They burst from the other side of the ridge and slid into a shallow snowdrift, breathless. Kaelin turned. They're targeting bonded pairs. That energy signature, it's drawn to our mark. Lunara's eyes narrowed. Then we're not the first. They shared a silent look. Something larger was at play. The mark wasn't just cultural, it was weaponized. That night, as the winds howled above their new Sheltora hollow tree fused with alien alloy, Kaelin stared at the swirling pattern. On his shoulder, "Why me?" he asked softly. Lunara sat beside him, curled beneath a thermal cloak. "I didn't mean to choose you," she whispered. "But I did." He met her gaze, and I don't regret it. Neither spoke for a long time. Then he shifted closer, arms wrapping around her. She didn't resist. She leaned in softly, deliberately, and their foreheads met again. The wind outside no longer mattered. They weren't just partners in a mission. Anymore, they were a spark in the middle of a brewing war. At first light, Kaelin and Lunara began their descent into the heart of the enemy encampment. The spiral of energy above the crystalline pit had grown now, forming a rippling dome of pulsing light. From their elevated position, they saw more than just hybrid mercs. There were scientists in sleek, unmarked suits, drones with glowing red optics, and, at the center of it all, a statue, an enormous wolf-headed being, carved from obsidian, its claws wrapped around a glowing sphere. "Iron God," Lunara murmured, jaw tightening. The oldest, Kaelin, kept his eyes on the figures below. "They're using this temple to activate the artifact." "No," her breath steamed. "They're feeding it with bonded pairs." Kellen's blood chilled, and not from the cold. His hand went to his shoulder where the bond mark glowed faintly beneath his clothes. "How do we shut it down?" Lunara's expression was grim. "We don't. We destroy it." They waited for dusk. By nightfall, the snow fell thick, muffling the sound of movement. Kaelin crept around the camp's perimeter, planting disruptor charges near the generators, while Lunara moved like a shadow through the tents, disabling sentries silently with her twin blades. But before they could finish, Alert, a voice barked through the speakers. Bonded pair signature confirmed. Lock, perimeter. Searchlights snapped on Kalen, and Lunara sprinted toward the crystalline pit. Pursued by bullets and plasma fire, Kalen activated the detonator boom. The camp's outer ring erupted in sparks. Screaming filled the air. The artifact reacted violently, pulsing faster, louder, shaking the ground. Lunara skidded to a halt before the statue, reaching toward the sphere. "Cover me," she shouted. Calen took position, firing at the advancing mercs while shielding Lunara with his body. "I need your blood," she called over the roar. "What? Our bond. It must be sealed by your will." Without hesitating, Kalen grabbed her blade and sliced his palm. He pressed it against hers. The mark on their shoulders ignited in gold light. The artifact let out a thunderous howl-not sound, but something deeper. Vibrating through their bones, the sphere cracked. The statue shattered. The energy dome imploded in a blinding wave, then dashed silence. They woke beneath collapsed scaffolding. Kellen's head throbbed. Lunara stirred beside him, bruised but alive. The camp was gone, reduced to ruins and fire. And in the crater where the pit once glowed, a smooth stone rested black, pulsing faintly. He helped Lunara to her feet. "We ended it," he whispered. "For now," she said. Kalen looked at her, their hands still pressed together. "So what now?" Lunara stepped closer. Her voice was lower than a whisper. "Now, we decide what the mark means." Before he could speak, a dropship hovered overhead. Camp Reclamation had tracked the explosion. "Looks like we're going home," Kalen muttered. Lunara smiled faintly. "No, Kalen, we're not going back. We're going forward."